This is a very simple question where I ask you to find some characteristics of a function from its graph. So take a look at it. The graph of the function is this blue shape in here, and you have the markings on the x and the y axis as you want. Make sure, please take note of this empty circle and this filled in circle in here. These are different things, and you have to pay attention to them depending on the question that you're being asked. So one thing you're asked here is, first of all, what is f of 4 minus f of negative 3? So f of 4 for us, you look at 4, look at the height at 4, that is 3. So f of 4 minus f of negative 3, that is 3. That's the value of f of 4. And now I look at f of negative 3. So negative 3 and the x-axis is right here. Look at the height here, that's negative 2. So f of 4 is 3, f of negative 3 is negative 2. So I make those substitutions and my calculation becomes this. The answer is then 3 plus 2 equals 5. I could change that to anything that shows up here. I could change this 4 to a 5, to a 2, to a 1. Same with this negative 3. I could change it to a minus 4, minus 1, a 1, a 2, whatever. The thing you have to be careful about is if I ask you, for example, for something involving f of negative 5, that is undefined because of this empty circle. F of negative 5 is not defined. Okay, so if my expression involves f of negative 5, the answer here needs to be undefined. Okay, but that is just an example. On B, I'm asking for the domain of f. The domain is the set of all x values that are covered by this graph. I always imagine like a little light source in here, like if the sun is shining and the rays of light coming down, what is the shape of the shadow that this thing makes? So there's going to be a shadow all underneath, right? But this, because this is a hole, this is an empty circle, the light's going to get through here. So there's not going to be shadow. This is empty, right? So to indicate that using interval notation, we are going from negative 5 all the way to, maybe I should do this purple, all the way to 6 closed. Okay, so this is brackets because this is filled in and this is empty, so this is parentheses. I could very much ask what is the range of f instead of the domain. I could ask that if I wanted to, so pay attention to that kind of differences so that you're ready for any version, anything that comes your way. If I ask for the range, it's the same reasoning, but now you imagine that the sun is here and the light's going that way. So you imagine what's the shadow in here. Right? The range in this case is everything from negative 4 to 5. There's no, so as an example, the range is negative 4 to 5. Because even though there's a hole here, the light does get through here, but when it gets here, right on this other part, it stops anyway. So this part of the shadow is still, this part is still shadowed, right? There's still shadow in here, protected by the sun. It goes through this hole, but it stopped here anyway, the light, okay? On which interval is f increasing? So increasing is when the graph is going up. So this, right, going up from left to right. So that's minus 1 all the way to 2. You always use parentheses when that is going on. I could very well ask decreasing instead of increasing. And then the last question is, for what numbers, oh, there's another one. So for what numbers does f have a relative maximum, and what is the relative maximum? So the maximum is a point that is higher than everything else around it. This could be a relative maximum, but it is not one because of this empty circle. This could have been. So this is a relative maximum. So that means x equal to 2 gives me a relative maximum of 5. So I could write that. So I could write for, to be simple, to be short, I could say f2 equals 5 is a relative maximum. I could say, to be more verbose, I could say f has a relative maximum of 5 at x equal to 2. Okay, I could say that. if I'm asking for relative minimum, then there's two, right? This is a relative minimum, this is a relative minimum, both of these, because like I said, this guy is lower than everything else around it. Even though this guy is even lower, this one is even lower than that one, this is lower than everything in its immediate vicinity, so it's fine, it's still a relative minimum. But this is asking for maximum, so this is our answer there. Now, what are the x-intercepts? The x-intercepts are the points where the graph touches the x-axis, so this guy, and this guy. So -4, 1, and 5. I could change this question and ask for y-intercepts, which would be this guy, but that is fine. So -4, 1, and 5. If you want to be more clear, you can say x equals -4, x equals 1, and x equals 5, but whichever way, that is fine.